Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Regroup Show. I am your host, LJ Walker, a real estate investor helping you realize your dreams of owning a home or investing in one. But occasionally, I give you real estate news that you can use. So, I have been to a real estate conference, so much has happened during that time when I wasn't able to do videos. So I know I'm a little bit backlogged, but I'm trying my best to catch up and keep up with all the new stories that are occurring today. So, as many of you probably already noticed, the Black House, the Legacy Center, is being sold. Okay. And it's not really too much of a stretch. I think many of us knew or suspected that at one time or another, after we heard that Jay Morrison lost, what was it, $13 million? Something had to give. Okay. So I'll be honest with you. I am not someone who is too much on the commercial real estate side. I want to be, but I'm not there as of yet. The little knowledge that I do know, though, is that when it comes to office buildings really have not been selling as well as other types of commercial properties. And this is not just because of what happened during the pandemic. This has actually been going on pre-pandemic. And then, of course, when the pandemic hit, after it hit, many of us were forced to work from home. There are many companies now that, yes, have said, okay, you got to physically come back to work. But there are also many companies that still are not going back physically to the office building, and they have many of their departments working from home, right? So office building sales has been low. As a matter of fact, not only that, but if you look at many urban cities, including Atlanta, many of the office buildings are half empty. They're not completely full. And some are more than half empty as well. Because a lot of private investors that have approached me, they have said to me that they don't want to do office buildings for that particular reason. All right. Even though you get higher rent than, let's say, from an apartment building, like one space that might be the size of an apartment that's in an office, the rent is going to be maybe double, sometimes quadruple what the rent would be for a regular apartment. Sometimes it still doesn't add up. Sometimes it still doesn't cover all of the expenses when it comes to office buildings. Now, I've looked at this Legacy Center, and yes, it's a beautiful building. It's nice inside and out. I understand the concept of it. It's really an event space, but being someone that has tried her hand at event spaces are not always that easy to fill. I make more money in other areas, and to be quite honest with you, yes, I have a space up on on one of the sites for events for over a year now, and I haven't made any money whatsoever with that at all. Okay, so it could be that maybe I need more assistance and help in that particular area, but I doubt it. I doubt it. And I'm in New York City, where events are definitely commonplace, if you will, and people are looking for spaces. However, we do have, to be honest, we do have a plethora of event spaces here in New York. And I believe Georgia does too. However, it's not that easy to necessarily promote. I'm not really sure. I haven't seen any reports as far as like what was the revenue that was generated from this particular building. That's very important. But I will tell you this, even though selling the building is a good move, is a wise move, I don't believe it's going to be quick. I don't believe it's going to be fast. I think it's going to take time before someone else, another company, buys that particular building, because typically they're one of the slowest to sell. Like we're talking about 2 years. Now, the only thing is this, with Jay Morrison's history, he might create another business, another company, and then use that company's money to buy that particular property. Because as reported, you will see that that's what he did with the house that he lives in. Correct? And not only that, he is out here saying that he wants to raise more money to stay in the real estate game. So that's what I think might happen, but I'm not sure. Okay, don't quote me on that. If he's for real and he wants to sell the property, then yes. I know that also I'm not sure if this court case is still on, but he did sue someone who he claims ripped off the fund, the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. Again, I'm not sure about that, but tell you the truth, I'm going to say this, it's not really much of an excuse, because typically you can lose money and recoup, especially with the amount of years that has elapsed. So I do believe that there are other things that contributed to where the fund is currently right now. Now, the other reason too why I believe that it may take a while for the property to sell. Listen, the location is nice. It's near the airport. It's near a MARTA station, but it's not necessarily in walking distance. The location is not too far from downtown Atlanta. The area, East Point, is an up and coming area. Okay. However, I know people who did some flips down there, and a lot of the things were stolen out of the buildings that they were flipping, and they had to put cameras up to deter the crime, if you will. Okay. Crime rate in that area is a bit high. All right. It is so bad that the government down there, they actually got ripped off. The whole entire local government of East Point, Georgia, got ripped off. So it's like, man, this is a lot for them to deal with. Think about it. The Tulsa Real Estate Fund collapsed, and now this particular situation that they have to deal with. All right. But again, I wish everybody luck in this particular situation. I don't even think he paid about $2 million for this, right? And then if that was just to purchase. I'm not sure how much was used to actually renovate the property, but I don't think he will get the money back. I don't think he will get the money back as it stands today. Maybe, hopefully, something will turn around in that particular area and maybe he will collect. But as of right now, I don't see it. I don't see it. But I do wish them luck. I do wish them luck, and I wish everyone else luck that did not receive their money. And to be honest with you, because there were so many investors, I think it was like, what, 1,100 or so investors? I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot. And then you have people who put in their whole life savings. Please, for the future, everyone at the sound of my voice, never put your whole life savings into an investment, into any investment, because all investments take time to recuperate, especially when you're dealing with a fund. Funds, normally you don't get anything back until 3 or 5 years. Okay. So that's one of the main reasons why you don't. The second reason is because you're going to have other expenses that are going to arise up in your life. And you're going to need money, some kind of money, to cover those expenses. If you try to pull out your money before the 3 or 5 years in any fund, you normally will have to pay a penalty, and that penalty will eat away from the interest that you've earned. So because of this, I highly, highly recommend that in the future you do not put all of your money into the same basket. I also highly, highly suggest for anybody who is a newbie as far as when it comes to real estate investing. Well, first of all, I wasn't even really clear what he was exactly doing, like what he was going to buy first. An office building, honestly, is not the best route for somebody who's new in real estate. That is something that people who have been involved for a number of years, that's something that they do. That's not something that a new person should get involved in. Not even as a fix and flip. I would not necessarily recommend for a new person to move into office buildings. If you want a commercial, let's say laundromat, yes. If you want a commercial dry cleaner, yes. Hair salon, yes. Apartment building where there are more than 5 apartments, because more than 5 apartments is commercial. Definitely yes. But an office building, an event space, I would have to say no. I would have to lean on the no part. I think that, again, that's for a certain level, someone who has a certain amount of education. And that's another thing. If you don't have the education, it's best, at least a little bit, then you shouldn't be investing at all. Get the education first. Get that first. Because when I was looking at what I saw when he had his other meeting, I could tell that some of the people that he was speaking to, they don't know real estate at all. They don't know it. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay, it's not good. Now, I have to admit, when it came to me doing that private money lending deal, I didn't know everything. There was a lot that I didn't know, right? But I've been doing real estate for a while, so there was a lot that I did know. And you know what else I did? Uh, even though the deal is over, I'm taking it upon myself to go. I bought some books from Amazon. The books are what? Tax deductible because they're business books. And I'm taking it upon myself to read and to educate so that when I go into my next deal, I'm more prepared. Because who knows, I might choose the same person that I did the deal with, or I might choose somebody else. You understand me? So that is really my advice to you guys when it comes to office buildings, right? And then, of course, location definitely matters. And like I said, I do kind of like the location. My preference, though, is to be a little bit closer to the subway. That's just me, right? But even though it's not in walking distance, you can definitely take a Uber, take a Lyft. And I didn't really like go into it too deep, but there probably was a bus that you could pick up from the subway and take you to that particular area. Okay. And I noticed that there were some parks there. I know East Point has some growing eating establishments, right? The social economic factor of that area, though, is also pretty low, right? So that's another thing as far as like picking the place where you're going to have an office building, like what kind of businesses are going to be attracted to setting up office space in an area like that. You know, that's something else that you have to really look at. Really look at. That's why that's another thing too, is be clear what it is that they're going to be actually placing your money. Where are they going to place your money? Like, it seems as though many people gave him money without knowing what exactly he was going to buy first. He said he was going to do a lot of things, yes, but what was he going to do first? That wasn't necessarily clear. So, guys, anyway, that's really all I have to say. I'm keeping it short and sweet, to the point. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions on this situation. I've covered this so many different times in so many different ways. I try to give you guys as much gems as possible so that you know next time when you invest in a fund, and by the way, I would not invest with Jay Morrison, but the next time you invest in a fund or just invest, period, okay, and you're going to go with someone else, even before you check out that person, get clarity, look at the location, look at the type of property, look at yourself. Are you even educated enough to know about this type of investing? If you're not, then you're simply not ready. You'll never know everything, but you need to know something. And I'll end it at that. Okay, so listen, feel free to pass this amongst your friends. Why? Because each one, reach one, teach one. Bye for now. Until next time, have a good night.